Here in Paso de Señoras, we always were really respectful with the typicity, with the appellation and all that, because the owner was the president of the appellation. So, and we are only using Albariño because the historical wine here in Salnes Valley, it was 100% Albariño. Okay. So we just make a local wine. So that's the reason, because even we have a total production with all the wines, like 3 wines, the distillates and all that, less than 300,000 bottles, 290,000. But we have presence in more than 52 different countries. And that's because we don't make a trendy wine. If you make a trendy wine, you can sell a lot. We make a local wine. So in any part of the world, when they want to have a wine that shows the typicity of the Albariño grape, Rias Baixas weather, Salnes soil, they have to look for someone who respects all those things, and we are less and less, so that's the reason. And Paso de Señoras is a wine that is used in a lot of sommeliers school, in a lot of places like in Switzerland, Brussels and all that, just to explain the Albariño variety, they use Paso de Señoras, because you can make another wine. If you leave some residual sugar or something, you can make a little more trendy, but if you're trendy for a few years. Then another people is trendy and you lose. But if you make a wine that shows your typicity, shows your grape, your soil, your weather and your culture, so in any part of the world, now, a few years later, when they want to have that, they have to look for that. So that's the role we try to play. And we only work with Albariño because we are totally in love with the Albariño grape. We see it's an amazing variety. You can do all kind of things. So the problem, even then on the testing, we're going to taste like 5 different products or even more, and all them are totally different, and all then 100% Albariño. So that's the amazing thing. So with one variety, you can make all kind of things. Young, old, oak, no. This house, we are famous because for the aging capacity of our wines. And the aging capacity of our wines, it didn't come because for using these things, because we were the first ones doing really long ages on the list. Okay, since the first bottle of the winery, that was on 1989, all our wines are minimum 5 months on the list, even the young wine. Right now it's trendy. And then we have Selección Dañada, that is more than 3 years on the list. That's the wine that appears on the wine books in different parts and all that, because we were the really first people doing it. Right now, talk about list, it's trendy. Everybody put on the labels, list or whatever. It's list. I've been explaining what are the lists for years and years and years. The Albariño has some technical characteristics that make really nice behavior with the list. So I always explain, we get from the list what other varieties get from the oak, okay? Because the dry.
You never use oak.
We use oak sometimes just to know what's going on, and then we are going to taste a oaky wine. But within the list are better, okay? And the oak then is a tree. A tree is not related with the grape. And when you're using the list they come from the grape. So I like to say it's the variety against the wall, because we are using nothing but the variety. So that's great. We like it. What is our philosophy? What we think is the highest technology on the wine. So for us, there are 2 things that are really important to make the wine: the vines and the hygienic. Everything must be clean. So the wines have to be done on the vineyards, and the winery is not the place where you make the wine. The winery is, the cellar is just a place where you control and you monitorize. Nothing affects the wine, and the wine is just follow his life without being disturbed. But anyway, so hygienic is really, really important. But the wines have to be done before they're being collected, okay? The vines. We control around 55 hectares, okay? And that means 400 tiny plots. So that's crazy. That's about the minifundio that we were talking at the beginning. So the plots.
Harvested by hands.
Everything is harvested by hand. That's mandatory by the appellation, okay? But it's mandatory by the appellation. People is not coming here to do harvest. It's not worth it for them, because here the selection, not only in Paso de Señoras, it's just a cultural thing. Even the selection is made on the vineyard. Before you cut the grapes, you look at that, you have to clean if any berry doesn't look good, then you cut it, put it on a bucket, then over from the bucket we put it on a fruit case, and you are working like for 2 hours in a tiny plot like this. Then you have to get a car, move 2 kilometers, be in another 2 hours in another tiny plot, then you move. So nobody comes to do the harvest from outside. So usually harvest is something made between neighbors and family.